episode 435 of the DFO Rundown, as always, brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary. Get in the game. Use the promo code NATION, NATION, to get on a variety of games. We're in the conference finals of the NFL. We're now into the final 30-some games in the National Hockey League. The playoff races start to heat up even more, so get in all the games at Bet365. I'm Jason Gregor. We welcome in Jeff Marek. Thanks, everybody. We apologize due to some of my scheduling. It had to be a day later than usual, but there's lots of storylines, so we're good for that. Jeffrey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm kind of glad we waited. I'm kind of glad that your schedule was like a Gordian knot that you had to unravel in the last couple of days, because the storylines just keep on happening, and we even got a goalie fight to talk about today, which is always good.
It's
always good.
And you know what? I'll say, we're going to get the video for anybody who missed it last night. Sergei Bobrovsky, I'll be honest, I was a little surprised. I know the announcer, why is Nedeljkovic in there? And he got in on the scrum, and then all of a sudden, goalie Bob comes flying down the ice and jumps into the melee. And you know what? Hey, he got his helmet off quick, but I'll say Nedeljkovic was good to get Bobrovsky's helmet off. It was a pretty spirited goalie fight.
It was great. And you saw them in Sunrise, they were chanting his name, even though the Panthers lost the game to the Sharks. They were chanting his name at the end of the game as he skated off the ice. I know I kind of feel like I'm 12 years old when I see things like this, but man, I know I don't want it every game, but every now and then a goalie fight in a game, it pops the live crowd. You saw the bench. Did you see Macklin Celebrini on the bench? How crazy he was going. Both benches are energetic. The whole place is coming unglued. And you're right. Good on Nedeljkovic, because Bob got Nedeljkovic's mask off quick, and then he starts throwing. And if you're Nedeljkovic, your first thought is, okay, I got to defend myself, but I got to get his mask off. So I got something to swing at here too. I don't know. I loved it. It was a great bit of theater. It was a great bit of sort of, hockey theater violence. And again, I turn into I'm 12 years old all over again whenever I see a goalie fight.
Oh, you know what? Neither one of the guys, and obviously, it's not like it was, Ray Emery, rest in peace, who out there and really knew how to fight. So that kind of makes it a little bit more entertaining. And there was the one shot there from the side when it shows from the corner to both benches, and you could see guys on each bench kind of jumping up and down. But that's kind of the mentality of the Florida Panthers. They've always been a team. Everybody's physical there. Yeah. Lots of guys will fight. And so I think Bobrovsky was probably just waiting the last 3 years, just waiting for his time. I just need an opportunity to do it. And let's be honest, the Panthers are really struggling here. So, that's him trying to maybe get his team going a little bit in a weird way. And sometimes a weird thing like that, I know they didn't come back and win the game, but it might be one to say, hey, guys, we got to get going here. The Panthers, that I had outlined at the start of January, they're in a very tough schedule. They don't play any games in the same city on consecutive nights all year, all month. They're playing, they came home for one game. Now they're back on the road for 3. They're back home for 1. They're back on the road. So they got a lot of travel after having a very easy schedule. And I know they got Tkachuk back, but this might be a little bit of a message send here too from the veteran goalie who's trying to get his own game going too.
Absolutely, he is. A couple of things in that. One, another note from yesterday: the return of Matthew Tkachuk, as you mentioned, and right away going right at Vincent Desharnais. You saw the chops and the slashes, the slash to the hand, and then Desharnais pop him with a beautiful open ice hits. So that was an interesting sidebar to the game as well. I still think that. Still no Barkov just makes it that much harder for the Florida Panthers. But I will say one thing, as much as players talk about the state tax issue and how that acts as a magnet for a lot of guys, provided it's already a winning environment and provided it's a winning team, it can really act as a magnet. One of the things that when you talk to players, what they keep coming back to about playing in winter in Florida is, listen, we're here in January, and February is coming, and you know what it's like when you're in a northern climate. It's tough. It's cold. Your body doesn't always feel great. You're getting off the plane and you're buttoning up your jacket. One of the things that players will always talk about too, and this is just a baked in advantage to playing in the South, your body feels better. I know the Panthers are going to have a real tough schedule here but it's not as if they're in a snowy climate. They're not in a snowy climate here or a cold climate. They go back to Florida, and it just makes your recuperation, your recovery that much easier when your body feels good because you wake up in the morning and it's sunny and your knees and back aren't creaking when you get out of bed in the morning. There's no way to sort of compensate the rest of the league for it or level the playing field. It's just geography. But I will say this: I've always wondered whether it's easier for Southern-based teams to get into playoff races just because your body's not fighting against you. And your body tends to feel better when it's sunny and warm, and that's where you're living.
Yeah, maybe, but jet lag is jet lag, and
it is.
They got to play 26 of their final 41 on the road, and they're making a lot. Like from Florida to the West Coast is well, there's nothing farther, right? So yeah, there could be pros and cons, and then you throw out your best player. So the Panthers, and all of a sudden, like you look, Buffalo Sabres are playing well. The Boston Bruins have won 6 in a row. So there's Montreal and Detroit are way better. So their division, Toronto's woken up. Their division's a lot tougher. So I just think they're in it a little bit here with 30-some games to go, and it'll be interesting to see if they can pull themselves out of it again.
Yeah, no Barkov, and they've played so much hockey in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
right. It's not just the 2 Stanley Cups; it's the going to the Stanley Cup final too. I think, look, if the Florida Panthers don't make the playoffs this year, does it change how we look at this edition of the Florida Panthers? For me, not a bit. Not a bit. If they have 3 years going to the Stanley Cup final, win 2 Stanley Cups, and then you fall out of it when you have your best player and one of the best players in the NHL injured for pretty much the entire season, that's enough to give them a pass for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Last night also had the return of Jonathan Toews to Chicago. And, Toews had been on a roll. The Jets had a little bit of a spurge, but then, now they're kind of back to where they are. They couldn't score. Yeah. They get shut out in Chicago. But no surprise, a very welcoming reception from Blackhawks fans to have a guy who captained them to 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years. Probably a nice kind of closing chapter in a way for him to get to go back to Chicago as a player, not just go back, when they're going to retire.
Yeah. The ovation didn't stop. Hey, like at the record in the NHL for ovations for players is 27 minutes. And that was for Bob Orr when they retired his number in Boston. Rocket Richard I got it written down here, was 16 minutes at the closing of the Forum. Guy Lafleur was 11, and the return of Saku Koivu was 9. So you look at that was impressive. But it wasn't like Bobby Orr or Rocket Richard type ovation, but that one didn't stop. It's just a reminder how much that player meant to that team and that organization. You can recall what 2010 was like and all the ghosts of the old Chicago Stadium in 1961. And, Toews was right there as the leader of all of it. To the point about the Winnipeg Jets, that's a team that I think has baffled everybody. And I think we all wanted the Jonathan Toews story to work. I think we all had that soap and warm water feeling. Oh, he's coming back, Manitoba boy, playing with the Jets. This is going to be awesome. He's been great at faceoffs. No mistake about it. Always has been, and continues to be elite at faceoff. But this is a Jets team that is still a second line center away at least. And they need to replace that speed that they lost with Nick Ehlers, and probably at least one defender away from getting back into this thing. That to me is the big disappointment of the season. How you go from President's Trophy to right around the basement. That was the shocker. That's been the shocker this year.
Easily, not even close. They're the most disappointing team, and I'm sure the franchise would admit to it, unfortunately. And they're hoping it's a 1 year. Rachel, like I said, if worst case scenario, you have a 1 year blip and then you get a top pick and you come back, because it's not like they're losing their top guy. They're not the Rangers. The Rangers are selling off. They're going to trade Panarin. Yeah. Already said they're not coming back. They're going to move other guys. The Jets are, Hellebuck, Scheifele, Kyle Connor, all their Josh Moore, all those guys are coming back. It's just a matter of, filling out around the edges, probably get a little bit more speed and find a way back, because they shouldn't be this bad. They just shouldn't be. They got enough talent. They're not going to be a dominant team. But my goodness, they shouldn't be the cellar dweller.
I just don't know, the salary cap goes up this year on July 1st. I just don't know whether Winnipeg is going to be able to compete with the spending. That's the only thing that I look at and I go like, you're 100% right. Like they got the goalie, they got the defenseman, they got a couple of forwards, there's like some great individual pieces there. But unlike the New York Rangers, like you're right, Rangers are like they're the bodies out the door. Rangers are going to keep up with spending. Winnipeg Jets aren't.
Yeah,
at the end of it, that's going to be their handicap.
But what the Jets need, Jeff, the Jets need good value. Go out and find. Look what Vancouver did. They got Kiefer Sherwood. He's been unreal at $1.5 million. Jack Roslovic in Edmonton at $1.5 million. Like you can go out and find good depth players because their top line is there. They've got their top line, which is the hardest thing to find. They got a top goalie. They got a number one defenseman. They've got the hard pieces. So now they've got to do a better job of finding the depth guys and go get a few good signing players, get some speed. There's lots of players if you want to add some speed to the bottom of your lineup that you can go get. And you know what? They might not score a ton of goals, but they don't get scored on as much. They make your team more competitive. They allow you to have minute eaters that then can get back to the Scheifele. Because if you look at Scheifele's line, his line's been really good, but it's their depth that's killing them right now. So I think that's what I would look at. Another team that's struggling with they did get a win last night, 9 wins in their last 25 games. The New Jersey Devils. They got some good news, I guess, and Nemec scored again. Man, the guy's great in overtime. If you could take that into the 5-on-5, that'd be good. But Luke Hughes' separated shoulder was the report. I think Frank Cervalli had it first last night, but it looks like the Devils have another injury on their hands.
It's a season of hell on the ice and off the ice for the New Jersey Devils. Like that's what it's been. And now the question is, what type of cap space can the Devils open up here? Is it the regular LTIR for Luke Hughes, or is it the season ending LTIR? So what's Tom Fitzgerald going to be able to play with here? What's he going to be able to open up here? To me, that's going to be the big question. I'm assuming by the time people listen and watch this podcast, White's already been called up. That would be the obvious plug and play right now for the New Jersey Devils. But make no mistake, like I know of recent note, the last 4 games they've played better, but those problems still exist, and I still maintain the same thing about the Devils. They need to look at moving at least one core piece. Does this team not look like a team that needs a major shakeup here for you? Like I'm with you on Nemec. Like Nemec has been fantastic for them, and especially in overtime. But this is a team that still looks like they need one shakeup. And their best player has been their backup goalie. Right? Like their MVP has been their backup goalie in Jake Allen, as Jacob Markstrom tries to find his game. They need to move a big piece here, a major piece. I wonder if it's Dougie Hamilton. I think we've all wondered about that one over the past couple of weeks since all those rumors started to pop up. But maybe do they even go deeper than that? That'll be the big question here.
Yeah. I look at it is funny to see kind of where teams are going, and you're getting to now not many games away, but we're still like 6 weeks away from the trade deadline. But because there's that 3-week gap of no games in between, right? Yep. Teams are going to, we're going to know a lot of the picture, I think, before the Olympic break, and then definitely that 1 week after the Olympic break. Teams are only playing 3 games that week, and maybe some will hold out hope that those 3 games can suddenly be 3 wins, and maybe they're closer or farther. But I think we're starting to see a little separation from some teams who are clearly might be sellers. We already obviously saw some trades here at the Vancouver Canucks, like the San Jose Sharks. Let's go there. Big win in Florida. Sure. Yeah. And the Sharks go out, and I love this trade for San Jose, and I don't mind it for Vancouver. So you get 2 second rounders, kind of the going rate for a guy like Kiefer Sherwood. And the San Jose Sharks, I know people are like, they're going to overpay him. Now that's the key. If you don't overpay him, the trade's very good. He had 19 goals last year. It's not a one-hit wonder. He's got 17 this year. Now he started red hot, right? Like his goal scoring has come back down to a little bit more of a normal. He's on pace for 17 or 18, 19 goals in his last 20 games after just a scorching start where I think he had 12 and 18, right? Yeah. He wasn't going to keep that pace up. But you look at the wingers in San Jose, their top 9 wingers, Jeff, they're all kind of the same, a little bit smaller. No one's overly physical. They desperately need a top 9 forward And if Kiefer Sherwood's on your third line, he can moonlight in your top six, no problem. But if he's just on your third line, he's going to add a dimension they don't have. He's physical and he's fast. He can kill penalties and he can chip in. Like, I love this trade for a Sharks team who wants to surround Celebrini with some player. He's not young, right? Like, Sherwood's 30 years of age, so he's not young. And the key is going to be, what's his contract, right? That's all, to me, the key of this trade. And if he gets him for, let's say he gets Trent Frederick money, 3.85. I think that's fine. Like, now 5.5 would be too much in my opinion, but you get him at 3.85, nothing wrong with it.
So we've talked about it a lot over the last 24 hours or so since it happened about what this means for the San Jose Sharks. And I'm with you. I think this is a really good deal for the San Jose Sharks. And, they're still a rebuilding team, but do they need those 2 second-round picks, or do they need Kiefer Sherwood more? They need Kiefer Sherwood more. They need someone that's going to, this is the shot in the arm from the general manager. This is Mike Greer saying, you guys deserve help. You guys have exceeded expectations in some people's mind. You guys have deserved this trade, so you get it. There's also an expectation that gets raised a little bit when the general manager makes that deal, because it goes from, hey, you guys have done really well, we're going to reward you with this, to, okay, we've got you this player. Now the expectation is you're going to get to the playoffs. We've talked about what this means for the Vancouver Canucks, and the rebuild is very much on, and the 2 second-round picks, etc. I want to talk about what this means for Kiefer Sherwood. And just put yourself in the mind of Kiefer Sherwood as you're going to market. So you've turned down offers from the Vancouver Canucks and you're going to market. And to your point, he's not young. He's someone who's in his 30s. So you're saying to yourself, this is his chance to ring the bell finally. And this is no slight against the San Jose Sharks. They are where they are. But if you're Kiefer Sherwood and you're thinking, I need to do something big here towards the end of the season and into the playoffs, how are you feeling about going to the San Jose Sharks as opposed to going to a team that we expect to have a longer playoff run? Because a longer playoff run is more showcase for Kiefer Sherwood. And to your point, maybe, a $3 million contract AAV turns into a 5 after he goes on a deep run. I don't think anyone expects the San Jose Sharks. I'd be pleased as punch if they did. It'd be a great story, but I don't think anyone expects them to do anything in the postseason if they get there. And if I'm Kiefer Sherwood, I'm saying to myself, if this could have been a different team and I could have gone on a deeper run, I wonder how much I could have gotten on July 1st.
Yeah, it's interesting because I look at it the other way. I think going to San Jose, what if he gets a chance to play with Celebrini at times? Right. And they look and say, you know what? We know Will Smith plays with them, but maybe we're going to because we want a physical player on that wing. And even if I don't make the playoffs, but if I play with Macklin Celebrini, because if he would get traded to another really top end team, he's probably a third line guy for sure. So
but those guys get paid.
Those
guys get paid though. But those guys get paid though too, right? And let's not forget, it's not a robust UFA market this year. Come July 1st, the biggies are gone, so everyone's gonna be racing to see what Alex Tuch gets, and then after that, you're Kiefer Sherwood. You're like, yeah, just went a long run with Team X here. The third lines is where you win Stanley Cups. I don't know. I get your point. I just don't know that he's gonna play with Macklin Celebrini or with Macklin Celebrini enough to really move the needle that significantly.
Yeah, potentially. I think, hey, being on a team that's in the playoff picture, that's young and exciting. I'll say this, they're fire wagon hockey, Jeff. They score a lot. They
give
up
dude, it's fun.
So there's
fun.
That part of it's good. You're going from Vancouver where they haven't won a game in 2026 yet. And
oh man, yeah.
All right, which is awful. Now, the only intriguing part of this is depending on the severity of this injury, he might not, he's not playing this week. There's some rumors he might not even play before the Olympic break. So that to me is kind of a fascinating sidebar of this deal and that tells me that San Jose made this trade with the full intention of keeping Kiefer Sherwood longer than just this season. Otherwise, why would you rush to make the trade now? You're like, well, if he's not playing before the Olympic break, why wouldn't I wait a few weeks? I think this tells me that the Sharks want him. And when I look at the makeup of their team, they need him. And their salary cap, Jeff, they got so much cap space. They probably could pay him as much as anybody else. They might stretch it up to $4.5 million just because, right? And get him on a 4-year deal and away you go. And that's, hey, 4 years at 4.5, all of a sudden you make $18 million in your 30s. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good life.
Yep. Yep, not disagreeing. And you're going to go to an environment that's really positive. And as we've seen with the Vancouver Canucks, to your point, 11 losses in a row, haven't won in 2026. Have the head coach talking about the culture of the team, and it's just miserable, and guys slamming doors and breaking sticks. And it's just that you go from that to the San Jose Sharks, where they're having goalie fights and beating the defending Stanley Cup champions. And you're right, fire wagon hockey, and everything is fun, and go, go, go. From that point of view, you're right. This guy just hit the lottery. He gets to go and have fun. Now, if you can parlay that into something significant, because again, this is your chance to set your family up. This is Kiefer Sherwood's one shot at doing it. And I know maybe, the romantic charm was, he's going to go to Columbus and local boy goes home, et cetera, et cetera. But he has a shot here at setting himself up and his family up for life. Yeah. I just hope it all works out for him. Because if you think about guys that deserve it and guys that have earned it, going through Anaheim, going through Nashville, going through the entire saga with the Vancouver Canucks, that guy has earned it. Yeah. That guy has been a soldier.
Another undrafted player. So never on the radar at 17 and 18, which is why there's first rounders, second rounders, and undrafted players who make up the most in the NHL. The other trade was the Flames and the Vegas Golden Knights. And obviously they like making deals. You had Hannafin. Now you've got Rasmus Andersson. I actually really like this return for the Calgary Flames. I think Zach Whitecloud is he's a legit NHL defenseman. He's going to be a top 4, might be a top pair guy in Calgary, maybe a little bit of playing above himself, but he's physical. When you're a rebuilding team, you need competitive players, and he's a competitive player. They also get a first rounder and maybe another one, depending on, Vegas obviously has to win the cup. Odds are low just because there's 16 teams, but they get another second rounder. I don't mind this for Calgary, and for 2 reasons, Jeff. It makes them a little bit weaker now because the last thing they need to do is win too many games this season. Right? You're in it. They don't. They don't need to win like Vancouver. Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to lose 11 in a row. That's a little too painful, but the Canucks want to stay near the bottom and have the best odds. That's just what they do. And I think Calgary, I put them in a similar boat.
Yeah. They're also getting a good citizen too. Not to put maybe too much of an accent on it because, the good guy in the room, they don't flood the room, but they're getting a really good citizen too. Ask anybody who's ever been around Zach Whitecloud, ask anyone who's ever played with Zach Whitecloud, and they just won't stop talking about the guy. He is one of the best citizens in the game, period. They get a good defenseman and they get a really good person in Calgary too. And listen, you're right about the battery between Kelly McCrimmon and Craig Conroy. It's nice when you can do most of your shopping all in one place and you don't have to go all over the mall to get what you need. I'll be really curious to see how they use Rasmus Andersson. Let's not forget too, this is all in service of the Alex Pietrangelo situation. To me, Alex Pietrangelo is, in some ways, this generation's version of Chris Pronger in one very specific way. Whenever Pronger would leave a team, the team would take a major step back, right? And it didn't matter what team Pronger left, the team always took a major step back. Such a hard guy to replace. And Pietrangelo is that guy. St. Louis has never recovered. St. Louis has never, to this day, the St. Louis Blues have not recovered from losing Alex Pietrangelo. And you can make the argument, too, that a lot of the situation with the Vegas Golden Knights, where they're not, an elite team tearing up the NHL, is because how do you replace Alex Pietrangelo? You can't. And you kind of do it by committee. That's what St. Louis did. St. Louis brought 3 or 4 defensemen in who all did a piece of what Pietrangelo did. And now we're finding the Vegas Golden Knights are, looking to do the exact same thing. We should throw Nick Hague in there too, because I think that was a pretty significant loss for them as well. But nonetheless, this is all in service of losing Alex Pietrangelo. And when you look at the Vegas Golden Knights, the place where they kill you, where they absolutely kill you, is neutral zone transition. And when you have a blue line, when the Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup, they killed everybody in the neutral zone. And they killed everybody because their blue line was the best in the NHL. And they were massive. And their sphere of influence was so huge. And look at that blue line now with Rasmus Andersson. Look at all the elite defenders you could have on the ice every single shift that you're out there. Deployment's going to be fascinating here. Who do they put Rasmus Andersson with long term? going to be interesting, but you're going to have someone on the ice at all times who can move the puck to the forwards quickly and efficiently. Vegas coming back, man. Vegas,
Vegas is good.
They're like that guy. Well, here's a question. They're not better than Colorado, but are they better than everybody else in the Central now? Dallas is taking a dip.
Yeah, Dallas is struggling right now.
Dallas can't score. Dallas needs something and quick. Like I think we're all wondering about Artemi Panarin there.
Do you think
Dallas
Vegas
needs something?
Yeah, they do need something. They need to be quicker. But do you think Vegas is better than Edmonton?
I don't bet against it because I don't bet against Edmonton because of the 2 nuclear missiles and because of the improved goaltending. That to me is still jump ball. I still don't know which of those 2 teams is better, but I know with Andersson there, it does start to tilt in Vegas's direction. I still don't think Kelly McCrimmon's like, I think they're getting another forward.
Yeah, well, Edmonton needs Edmonton, I think, to get a top 6 winger. And I think first place in the Pacific is uber important. It's kind of like second place in the Central, really, because that gives you home ice. But first place in the Pacific will, if we assume Edmonton, like the rest of the Pacific Division isn't that good. You got LA, you got Seattle, you got Anaheim, Vancouver. There's not that good, but those top 2 teams are good. And and the Central, like outside of Colorado, the way Vegas and Edmonton are trending, they'll both finish with more points in Minnesota and Dallas, as those 2 teams in the last 6 weeks have really stalled a little bit. And everybody, you look at the Atlantic Division is catching up to them. And that's why people were a little bit premature early on, I saw people complaining about the NHL playoffs again. Dallas and Colorado, Dallas and Minnesota, the 2 top 3 teams. And I'm like, dude, it's not even halfway through the season. Pump the brakes. Lots changes. But Vegas is getting better. And it's going to force Stan Bowman and Edmonton, I think, to counter, not necessarily with a defenseman. And they've already done they swapped out their 2 goalies this year, kind of similar to Colorado last year. But they've also, they're looking for a top 6 winger. I think that's going to be the key. But the challenge in that is, A, there's not many of them available. And B, you still don't really know outside of Panarin who really is available in the top 6. Like Alex Tuch, everybody's like Alex Tuch. I'm like, the Buffalo Sabres can't trade Alex Tuch, right? If you get down to March 5th, Jeff, and you're in the playoff spot, there's no way, even if you don't have him signed, you haven't made the playoffs in 14 years. I don't think there's any way you can trade Alex Tuch.
That's an interesting one too, because on the one hand, you're right, and Terry Pegula more than anybody else wants to get rid of the number 14, especially after what's recently transpired with the football team, Jason Gregor, and you would know a lot better than me as a football fan. He wants to get rid of the number 14, but then at the same time, can you afford to let Alex Tuch go to market? Can you afford to let that go for nothing? And well, every day that goes by, I like Alex Tuch too. But do you like Alex Tuch?
I don't.
But that's what he's getting. But look at the numbers. Like the numbers, and we've had this discussion about Adrian Kempe in the playoffs, absolutely. But when you look at the boxcar numbers, they're pretty much identical players. So if you're Alex Tuch, and again, you hold the hammer here because you're the one that's approaching free agency and the opening of the gate. You can say like, yeah, you know what? Photocopy the Kempe contract, and I'll sign it right now. Like I'm with you. Like it does feel like an overpay until you put the two side by side and you say, you know what? They are more similar than they are different, even though they're two different kinds of players. I just don't know. This one's a tricky one for Kekalainen. Listen, I think the Buffalo Sabres would love to have him back. Obviously, they'd love to re-sign Alex Tuch. I just don't know when you consider the state that Buffalo Sabres are in right now, whether they're insulated enough. Because sometimes there are just some teams that they're fine with letting a player walk, right? Buffalo's not there yet. Buffalo's not there yet to let a superstar walk away for nothing. Some teams are. Buffalo's not.
Yeah. See, I look at Tuch and, if you look at the previous 4 seasons, Alex Tuch, like his goals were, and I guess maybe even to go 3, 36, 22, 36, where Kempe is 35, 41, 28, 35. Like, I just think Kempe's a better player historically.
I don't disagree. But again, like you're Alex Tuch and you're saying, I'm the guy on July 1st. Like, let's not forget that too. Like the bigger picture to all of this is come July 1st, we're all chasing where Alex Tuch is going to sign because everybody else has already been wrapped up. So he can either get it now from the Buffalo Sabres or somewhere else on July 1st.
Yeah. Well, I will say, Tuch, kind of hometown guy. If they finally get back to the playoffs in Buffalo, I think there's if he likes it there, and he said that many times, he likes it there. He finally maybe sees a little bit change of direction. And because think about it, that first game, and that's why I would love for Buffalo to make the playoff. Just imagine that first playoff game in Buffalo. I don't care if they start on the road, but that game 3 in Buffalo will probably be the loudest playoff game we've had in a while. The NHL, because 14 years of frustration. I remember Edmonton when they did it a decade, and a decade seems like a lot, but it's nothing compared to 15 years finally when you end it. So that to me will be a wild story to look at. Speaking of trades, the Rangers, they came out, they got their second letter out to their fans in 8 years. And the last one worked all right. They were pretty competitive, made 2 conference finals and stuff. This one feels a little bit different. And they also said, hey, we're not bringing back Artemi Panarin. They've already said it, right? So Panarin knows that. He's playing his last few games for the Rangers. Are there teams that no question about it, he's the most skilled player available on the market. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody debates that. Now, he's expensive, and it's an oddity because your regular season cap hit will count less for Panarin than your playoff cap hit, because in the playoffs, he'll be 50%. And even if you get retained 50% in the playoffs, it's really only closer to like 30% because of that much time left in the season. So it is an anomaly now that teams will have to look around. And he's basically a $5.8 million player in the playoffs, which isn't that much for the amount of points he gets. So Carolina, Dallas, who else do you see as teams? The New York Islanders? I know that'd be crazy, but man, the team that could use him the most.
Could you imagine? Oh, could you imagine? Here we are, the Calgary Flames. Are we going to help the Edmonton Oilers? Here we are, the Quebec Nordiques. Are we going to help the Montreal Canadiens? What about the Washington Capitals? You and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. That was the one team, because again, like when you pull back and go big picture here, and we're all expecting that this is going to be the swan song for Alexander Ovechkin. How does the idea of Artemi, and Chris Patrick has already come out and said, like, look, we need another top 6 winger here in Washington. You bring in Artemi Panarin now, and he signs a 2, 3 year, 4 year contract extension. And it gives the Washington Capitals a new look on their power play. And essentially, Panarin becomes the replacement for Ovechkin in Washington, albeit different player, but he becomes that. So Washington is a team that I consider here. I think the Detroit Red Wings, because Steve Yzerman looking for one defenseman and one more forward. I'm sure his preference is a center, a second line center, like half the league is looking for a center. They're hoping it was going to be Marco Kasper this year. That hasn't worked out as they thought. But could a reunification with Patrick Kane be in the offing here for the Detroit Red Wings? That's another team that I wonder about here. And they are right there. You want to talk about ending droughts? That building is Ophir. We don't even call it a new building anymore. It's just a building that's never had a playoff game. That building is Ophir, and the Ilitch family and Steve Yzerman and the rest of the Wings organization would love to end that. Thank you very much. Those are the ones that come to mind. Dallas, I keep coming back to. I maybe the Florida Panthers too. For Panarin, the way you sell it is for Panarin to waive the no move is if you go to a team like Dallas or if you go to a team like Florida, you get a raise. Right? Like you're paying high state tax in New York. You ain't in Texas and you ain't in Florida.
Yeah. Well, Florida doesn't have the money, I don't think, next year to add him. They got
I don't know. No, they don't. I'm just the pure rental.
Yeah.
But as far as trade for him and sign him, Washington makes sense to me. Caps do.
Yeah. We know he loves New York, and that's why I bring up the Islanders. And they could desperately use him. If he's really pissed off at the Rangers, that's the team to sign at. Like, oh my God, if you want to just give it to him a little bit, that's the go to their biggest rival. I don't know if he'd want to or not, but when I look at all the teams who need him, I don't think there's a team that needs him more than the Islanders, because they got unreal goaltending and they got their defense core is pretty solid. They need more offense. It's obvious what they do. And I don't know if a trade works or not, but even if he trades to someone else that, I could see Panarin, would he consider it? Maybe he wants to go to a team that's closer to being a legit cup contender and take less potentially to go there. I'd be surprised. Like Edmonton needs a top 6 winger. I just don't see how it fits into their budget and their salary cap, even as a pure rental to get Panarin. They'd really have to magically move out some other money to make it happen. But I just think teams, when you look at Artemi Panarin, man, there's just not many players like that come available in free agency. And so there's a lot of teams that are close. Somebody's going to swing big, I think.
I think so too. It's interesting listening to you make the case for the New York Islanders, because in my mind, I'm saying, Griggs is also making the case for Dallas here. They are a Stanley Cup contender, unlike the Islanders. They have good goaltending. They have a definite need for more goals. They have a good blue line. I don't know. I'm hearing you talk about the Islanders, and I'm like, you know what? That's the case that I would make for the Dallas Stars.
Well, the Stars really like the Sagan LTIR is what opens it up for them.
100%.
And so now the problem is they don't have a first rounder. Right. Well, I guess they have the 27 first round.
They have 27 first rounder.
Yeah. So they could do that, and then they wouldn't have a first rounder for 3 years.
Can I ask you? So I was talking on the podcast that I do with Bruce Boudreau yesterday morning, and Gabby said he didn't like the move by Drury, just to throw out the letter. He said, because what happens now is the players have to answer, the coach has to answer. He thinks that Drury should have been, if you're going to put out the letter, also do a presser. Also be out there to answer questions, because now all the questions get directed at the people who aren't in charge of this dismantling. It's the coach and it's the players. You think Drury should have put that out and then made himself available?
That's a good question.
It's his decision, right? This is bold. This isn't a small market team putting out a note on a Friday afternoon, which is what the Rangers did. They put this out on a Friday afternoon. This is the New York freaking Rangers. Okay. And we all know, James Dolan has already given the vote of confidence to the general manager and to the head coach. So we know they're not, and also gave them the vote of confidence to put that letter out. Okay. So we know if these guys are solid, these guys are fine. How come Drury's not out there answering questions? How come it's guys that don't affect the change? I really question, is Drury the right guy to lead this? And because he's the one who led them to this point. And some of the decisions he's made have been a direct reason why they're in the ditch. So I think it's totally valid to question if he's the guy. Putting out a statement and then not ever addressing it, I think is pretty BS, to be honest. It's a written statement that, okay, this is what we are. Well, maybe you should speak a little bit more on that. I would agree. I look at the Rangers, and I don't really put a ton of stock now. Maybe Drury's super tight with Dolan, but Dolan wouldn't be the first owner, the first GM that comes out and publicly says, you know what, this guy's good. We got his back. He's going nowhere. And then in 3 weeks, they're gone, right? If the Rangers tank it here over the next 2 weeks leading to the Olympic break, could I see them letting Drury go, and then you got 3 weeks over the Olympic break to figure it out? Because I'll say this, if you have any doubt about Chris Drury, you can't let him be the guy who manages your team at the trade deadline, dealing Panarin and moving forward into this retooling. If you have any questions, now's the time and I find that's where teams make a big mistake. We're not really sure on this guy, but you know what? We'll let him stick around, Jeff. And then he makes 1 or 2 bad moves and you're in a rebuild, and those bad moves extend your rebuild window even longer, right? Because it's not like when they got Panarin. They got Panarin a big free agent ticket. There's not big name free agents out there, similar talent to Artemi Panarin that you can go sign. So how are you going to rebuild this if you're the New York Rangers? How are you going to retool your team? You don't have a ton of great assets. So how are you going to do it? And they're drafting. It's not like their drafting's been off the world great under. Oh, no. Opposite.
Yeah.
Opposite.
So why is he, my question to Rangers and their fans, why is he the guy? What's he done to earn it?
It's a legitimate point, and and that's why I threw in there. He had the blessing of ownership to put that statement out. To me, that is the indication, because you're right. We've seen plenty of owners go out and say, He's our guy. We're right here with Steve. Steve's the best. We love Steve. You lose 5 more games and, there's pink paper in the fax machine for Steve. Like, we've seen it a million times in a bunch of different sports. And that's why I think the fact that Drury was allowed to put that letter out by ownership is the legitimate indication, more than just going on WFAN and saying, I got their backs. These are our guys. The fact that he was allowed to put that out is an even stronger indication that Dolan still believes in him. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, you're right. Like, he's tied the knot, right? Like, all the loops and all the tightening and that's all been done by Chris Drury, right? That's all been done by Chris Drury and under Chris Drury's watch. The one thing that they always will have, though, and you're right, like, they're going to have to do this thing by trades and free agent signings, right? It's because it takes a lot to build up your pipe. But the one thing that the Rangers still always have in their corner is players want to play for the Rangers. Look at Panarin. Panarin, albeit in short, the term was shorter, but I think the money per season was actually more. When he was a free agent, Colorado swang huge on Artemi Panarin. Was it a 3-year deal, Greg? So was it a 5? I can't remember, but it was more money AAV that I believe than the Rangers were offering. But he wanted to go to New York.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, players love it there. They love the lifestyle, which is why I still think the New York Islanders. I wouldn't sleep on them because Sorokin's right there. Hey, buddy, want to come here? We need you, and we've got the great defenseman coming in, Schaefer. We got a really good goaltender. He's the Vezina leader right now. They could use a forward for sure. Well, we're gonna get to Ottawa after, but let's get to Pat Puff now. Back on the show, back from holidays, Patty.
Oh, where's the tan? Where's the tan?
I know.
Pat?
I don't tan super well, but I gave it a good effort.
You're like me. It looks like you got a part-time job at a flower factory.
Oh man, it's been tough. I'm gonna get that all week. I'm sure of it, but it's gonna be the opposite when we go to Jasper this weekend. So I'm just going from one to the other. But first of all, I mean, great episode so far, guys. Like, I've been away for a week and I feel super informed. So you're doing a great job today. I've got buy or sell for you. A presentation of Bet365. Whatever the bet is, it's never ordinary. Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game. Use code NATION. Bet365 must be 19 or older. First question I have: no doubt the Colorado Avalanche are being well coached by Jared Bednar. But we've always had this conversation of, he's got a good lineup in front of him. He's got good goaltending in front of him. So how much of that is actually coaching? Where Lindy Ruff on the opposite side, he's got a team that wasn't expected to make the playoffs. Now they're playing well and they're in the conversation. So all that to say, buy or sell on the current favorite on Bet365, Jared Bednar winning the Jack Adams. And we'll start with you, Gregs.
Well, I really like John Cooper because he's had more injuries. But Jared Bednar, I don't like to discount I don't think it's just easy to coach good teams. You got to keep motivated. They've won 10 in a row 2 different times this year. It's hard to keep your guys in it. Yes, you've got good team, but you still need as a coach to know which buttons to push, to how to challenge him. It can be a little bit of a slog. And sometimes, we're playing well. We can take our foot off the gas. So Jared Bednar, I think it's Bednar and Cooper. And I think everybody else after that's a distant third. So to be honest, and Bednar, if he won, I'd have no issue with it. Honestly, keep in mind, they've also been without their starting goaltender for much of the season. Right. And if you look at the goalie environment in front of Wedgwood, it's one of the best in the league. So to me, that's coaching. So I'd have no problem if Bednar won.
I think for a lot of things, for decisions like this, it comes down to, okay, so what did we all expect Colorado to be? What did we expect Tampa to be? I also will throw Todd McClellan into that mix. What did we expect Detroit to be? And have they exceeded those expectations? And as much as we'll look at the Avalanche and go like, holy smokes, like Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Martin Necas, like, and on this team, I don't think anyone expected this. Like, I don't think anyone expected the Colorado Avalanche at this point to be looking at smashing team records for regular season performance, right? This was a Colorado Avalanche team that we were looking at and saying, yeah, they're still a really good team and they're always going to be a good team with this roster, but maybe it's one cup and done for the Avalanche. And that's it. Where we thought they're going to rip off like 2 or 3, maybe it is just one, it's just going to be a one and done team in this era. And what Bednar has been able to do with this squad is nothing short of incredible, to be honest with you, at how he's not only gotten them, but kept them at that elite level. Now, it helps when you have leaders like Gabriel Landeskog, certainly, but I have zero problem with Jared Bednar winning the Jack Adams, and I am like Greg, so too. I still would look at Tampa. I would still look at John Cooper and look at the injuries and look at how long these guys have been at it and look at the attrition and all of it and still say, man, I know it's not the Central Division, but John Cooper's my guy. For me, it's still Cooper first and then Jared Bednar second, but I'd have zero problem handing this thing to Bednar.
Yeah, and for the podcast listeners, Bednar is plus 105, so still some value there. And John Cooper plus 550. Lindy Ruff, I mean, a bit of a stretch, but plus 650. Definitely something to talk about if they get to if they keep rolling at this point. Mm-hmm. The second question I have, two teams kind of on the opposite end of things. At the start of the season, we thought they were contenders. Maybe right now they're kind of on the outside looking in, and you've touched on one of them today already in their respective divisions. But the Florida Panthers to make the playoffs, minus 165. Not to make the playoffs, still in the positives despite being near the bottom of their division. LA as well, minus 230 to make the playoffs, plus 175 not to make the playoffs, also kind of at the bottom of the Pacific. So I guess my question is, there could be some value on either or both of these teams not making the playoffs. Do you buy or sell on either of these not making the playoffs, Marek?
To me, it's going to be a tougher slog for the Florida Panthers, even though they have more firepower than the Los Angeles Kings. I still think, to Greg's point earlier about the schedule and how much hockey they've played, which we mentioned during the Panthers conversation, I do still think that Ken Holland helps this team. Like, I don't think that that the Los Angeles Kings want Andrei Kopitar's last season to be devoid of playoffs. I think they want him to retire in the playoffs as opposed to retire after game 82. So I don't think that Ken Holland sits on his hands here. So I think the tougher slog here is probably going to be with the Florida Panthers. It's going to be hard. It's so hard.
Yeah, well, the Panthers are in a tougher division right now. There's a little bit more depth in the Atlantic. I like the top end of the Pacific and Edmonton, Vegas better than the top end. Like Tampa's good, but Montreal and Detroit aren't in the Edmonton, Vegas category yet. The advantage for LA is you're going up against Anaheim, who I'll give the Ducks credit, man. They'd hit the ditch there for a while, but suddenly they've won 4 in a row. And it looks like they're maybe, driving out of the ditch. Seattle, not a big fan of. Calgary, Nashville, Utah, all these teams are battling with, even the San Jose Sharks. The Kings, they're not going up against as many quality teams, so that I think gives them the advantage. I think Jeff's right on the organization, how they view Kopitar, although they need him playing. Yeah. That would really help their chances of getting back to the playoffs. But they just can't score. They desperately need some offense in LA. And, I've heard the rumblings of Evander Kane going to LA, and, he hasn't asked Vancouver fans. He hasn't scored much there, but you know what? Maybe the heat and the lights of LA would ignite him a little bit with Corey Perry and some other guys, who knows, but the Kings just desperately need offense. But honestly, I'm not sure if their style and system adheres to it. We talk about the GM. I really wonder about, I know that Ken Holland doesn't like firing coaches during the season. Yeah, I know he did it in Edmonton, but it wasn't, he got really kind of encouraged strongly by his owner to do that. Will he do it in LA? I don't know, but I'm not sure with that coach that they're going to provide enough offense. Their whole organization viewpoint has to change. They play boring hockey right now. Like, you watch some Kings games, it is boring. And that's not good it's not good in the NHL. You want to be entertained. Now, the Kings were never, run and gun team, even when they won, but at least they were a little bit more entertaining. Their games this year, oh my God, if you need to fall asleep, you're an insomniac, just put the Kings game on. You'll go to sleep right now.
Yeah. It's a tough one. Evander Kane scored last night, Griggs. He's back. Come on.
Maybe. You hope, trust me, for him, right? Kane's style of a player, he'll be sought after. Lots of teams want him because you know what? He doesn't shy away in the playoffs, right? He can help your team. There's no doubt about that. So I could see why the Kings would have interest. And I'm not sure the cost would be overly high right now.
Agreed.
All right. So yeah, for the podcast listeners, again, Florida -130 not to make the playoffs. The Kings -175, which I actually don't mind. And I'm a little biased as an Oiler fan, but I just don't want to play them again in the first round. And then the last one I have for you guys, and this is a bit of a thinker, but Jamie Benn sitting right now at 970 points. He's missed a bunch of games this season due to injury. I'm assuming he's not going to hit it this year. 30 points would be a stretch. He's 36, and next to hit 1,000 below him is Corey Perry at 958. So I guess my question is, buy or sell on Jamie Benn being the next player to hit 1,000 points, Gregs?
Oh yeah, I'd buy all day long. Unless he has a significant injury, but he comes back and plays and, maybe gets 15 points this year down the stretch. Corey Perry could play he's played really well in LA. You talk to people and what he brings, he's been fine, but I don't think he's going to outscore Jamie Benn. So I will take him to become the 418th player. Or no, he'd be the 104th player at 1,000 points.
I'll take Ben. Like Ben's the cup, first of all, and it's all going to be with Dallas. He's at $1 million now. To me, he's that guy now who's going on evergreen deals, right? Evergreen deal. 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year until the body says no. Ben's the guy. Ben's the guy. Ben gets there before Corey Perry does. To the point about Corey Perry, though, like here's another one for Corey Perry. Who's the last man standing from the 2003 draft? Him or Brent Burns?
Probably Brent Burns, man. Brent Burns having an unreal year again.
He's having a crazy good year right now. Because I was like, okay, yeah, maybe he's gonna wrap it up and call it. He's been fantastic for this team.
Hey. Do you know who's third in the chase to 1,000 points? Brent Burns, 934. So he could get in that. Brent Burns, like you watch those Colorado games, and the teammates love him. The guy's in unreal shape, still plays a load of minutes. He's healthy, and he's coming up on 1,000 consecutive games played. For God's sakes, like it is wild. For a guy who plays that many minutes, who's a big body, who's physical, like Brent Burns, probably underappreciated just how good of a career he has had.
Josh Manson too. When you talk about players that finally look healthy, Josh Manson looks healthy, and that's terrifying because every time you turn on a Colorado game, he's tuning someone up and playing big minutes. This is such a fun team to watch for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, Brent Burns, awesome. Josh Manson, awesome. I know that's not the answer. Those weren't the answers you're looking for, Pat, but somehow I ended up talking about Josh Manson when you asked a totally different question about Jamie Benn and Corey Perry, but here we are.
I guess maybe the better question would have been, will all three hit 1,000 points at some point? And right now they're all on track for sure, but that's all I've got for you. Buy or sell, brought to you by Bet365.
Yeah. 66 more points for Brent Burns.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
That's a lot.
That's tough.
Because, that would probably have to be him playing 2 more seasons. So that would be a challenge, I think, but the shape he's in, man, the way he's playing, it looks like he could play 2 more years. No question about it. Before we go, I do want to talk about the Ottawa situation. There's lots there to unpack. Linus Ullmark, did an interview with TSN and addressed those. I remember when those rumors came out, it was asinine. Like Linus Ullmark has dealt with mental health problems before. Why do you have to say why specifically a player? It's no one's business. These people are like, well, it's up to them to tell me what the reason is. Otherwise, I'm going to believe rumors. No, then you're no offense. You're a piece of shit human being. Yeah. If that's your mindset, is it? So it's up to them to monitor my own actions as a human being. Screw off. It was embarrassing how many big fan blogs who ran with that story and others. And, Brady Tkachuk, I don't think could have been any more direct about what he thought of it and how he viewed it. And it is sad how many people will just blindly believe something they read by a no-name account that had started up a week earlier. It's flat out embarrassing. And you know what? People, they try to blame, let's blame the victim. That's what it reminded me. Oh, Ottawa should have said something more because I need to know. No, otherwise I'm just going to believe something. No, then you're a douchebag of a human being. And then, so there's that one. Allmark comes out, and most sane people knew that it was a mental health issue, that it was a challenge that he's dealing with, and we wish him all the best. But then, like, the story had different layers, Jeff, because I know a lot of people got upset at Jake Sanderson's honest answer to a question the other game about their goaltending. They say, hey, made some good saves, but you need more than 10 saves to win. Yep. And, what did you make of Sanderson's comments? Totally different than the fan blog. I just want to clarify that. I didn't actually have a problem with what Sanderson said. Did you?
No. I mean, he's, again, like the first thing that I thought of after you kind of go like, wow, we're not used to hearing that come out of the mouth of a defenseman about his goaltender, is he's not wrong. Right. And these are the kinds of things that you hear that are discussed in the quote unquote closed door meetings that teams have. Like if after that game, after that Montreal game on Saturday, the Ottawa Senators had a closed door meeting and it's players only, it's things like that are said. It's like, dude, we need more than 10, although 13 was actually the actual number. We need more than 13 saves. Like, come on, man. Like we need a save out of you. Or Quinn Hughes talking about, after the game against the Maple Leafs, saying like, Minnesota's just a better team. Like it's just a better environment, just a better team. Like this has kind of been, in a lot of ways, the week of defensemen speaking honestly, either about previous teams or about their goaltenders. But Griggs, I had no problem with what he said. We're just not used to hearing it. And the other thing that made it interesting for me is Jake Sanderson's a second generation player. So you can't just say like, oh, well, you know what? He didn't know what he was doing. Like he didn't have a parent in the NHL, so he doesn't understand all the protocols and what you should say and what you shouldn't say. Like his dad Jeff Sanderson played in the NHL for a long time. And Jake Sanderson grew up in that environment and understands like the hierarchy and the protocol, like all these different things, what you say, what you don't say. But to me, that just underscored what I think a lot of Ottawa Senators fans feel, and certainly what ownership and management feel. And that is all the good work that Ottawa has been doing is being undone by bad goaltending.
Well,
all of it.
And the thing is, he didn't raise his voice. He didn't he was very calm in how he said it. And people are like, oh, he's throwing him under the bus. No, he answered the question fairly honestly. And here's the thing. This wasn't a one game thing. Larry Vynen has started 19 games. He has an 860 save percentage. This was not just a one-off where you were like, oh, everybody went off. The guys played great and he had one bad game. Of course not. He's had a bad, and actually, funny enough, today, he is a loan to the AHL, and Hunter Shepard has been recalled. Now, is he a young goalie who needs to play better? Yes. But at the same time, you're in the NHL, and it's the NHL. If teammates want to win, and they're like, do your best. And if your best isn't good enough, they'll find someone else. That's just the harsh truth about how it is. And he was given ample opportunity, and he couldn't find his game, right? I think he had, in 19 starts, I think he had 4 starts above 900. Or something. Like it's crazy. Like it's hard to win. And it's not like, if you look at Ottawa's metrics, it's not like they were leaking chance after chance after chance. So I can see how the frustration finally mounts, but it wasn't even that frustrating of a comment. I thought it was pretty calm. It was pretty direct. Hey, he made some good saves. We just need more than 10 saves to win. And that's the truth. Like how many, your goalie's got to make some saves. You can't just make 13 saves in a game, by the way, that you didn't even have. What he faced 21 shots. Like it's not like he faced 30 for God's sake. So here's what I wonder about. Like you're right. You're right. Here's what I wonder about. If Merrillanen would have made 40 saves that night, and Ottawa would have lost 1-0 to the Montreal Canadiens, and he came out and said, "Made 40 saves. We could use a couple of goals." What would the reaction have been? Yeah, a little different.
It would be a little different, but it's the same thing, right? Like essentially it's like, I'm doing my job. You guys got to do your job. That's what I wondered about too. Like would Jake Sanderson be cool if it's, you know what? I stopped 40. Could you guys give me like 2 pucks? I'm not asking you to score 5. Can you score 2? Because I made 40 saves.
Yeah.
It would be a different reaction, but it's the same thing. It'd be a different reaction.
Same thing. So the Sens, like honestly, I don't know if their season's salvageable at the rate it's going right now. Like they're going to need James Reimer to play unbelievable, and I just think it's probably a little too late for that. They got to hope that Allmark, like hopefully they're going to hope that Allmark can be like Connor Ingram. Connor Ingram took some time to put his own life as a priority, and I respect it. And that's, what, he's come back and He's played incredibly well for the Edmonton Oilers, like ridiculously well. If you look at 8 of his starts have been quality starts and really, really good. And you know what? He's solidified that position for them and probably makes it a little bit of a battle between him and Jari on who's going to play now, which is a good problem to have. But that's what Ottawa has to hope, that this is just like a one-off, skit. But they don't even have their first round pick, Jeff. Like that's where the Ottawa Senators, I don't see them throwing in the towel here. They want to finish as high as they possibly can because they do not want to be giving up a top 10 pick.
Nope, 100% true. You're right. And to the Edmonton point, it's always better when you solve your problems internally. It allows Stan Bowman to go out and address something else. And on a personal note, like I'm with you, Greg. It's like I'm happy to see people turn their lives around. I'm happy to see people like find success. Like even early on in Bakersfield, it was like, not sure it's going to be there for Ingram. We'll see. I know the AHL sometimes is more difficult for goaltenders than the NHL is. I'm really happy this guy's turned himself around and that he's been a quality netminder for the Oilers. Because now all of a sudden, if you can say like, all right, we've done the Colorado, we've swapped out both goaltenders here. Now you can address other areas of your team. As for Ottawa, listen, Alain Vigneault would always say it, right? Hockey is easy. If my goaltender is better than your goaltender, I win. If your goaltender is better than my goaltender, you win. That's how hockey is.
Some games, not always, but yes, in some games.
Generally.
Jeffrey, great pod, buddy. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Bud.
Thanks everyone. Sorry again for us switching the date, but it worked out. We had a lot of great topics to discuss. That's the rundown brought to you by Bet365. We'll talk to you Friday.
Hey, hockey fans, if you enjoyed that video, then make sure you hit the subscribe button right here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube. We have you covered for everything you need. Exclusive interviews on The Sheet with Jeff Marek, all the latest hockey news on Daily Faceoff Live, and you can always get your morning started with Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohn on Morning Cup of Hockey. Don't miss a minute. Hit that subscribe button.